Ali was tired. The hum of the cargo ship's engines had been constant for hours, but tonight, something felt different. Sparks had started flying from the main power conduit, and alarms were echoing through the metal corridors. Ali's hands moved quickly over the control panel as he tried to stabilize the ship. He had been trained for emergencies, but this situation was worse than anything he had faced before. A sudden jolt shook the ship. Ali was thrown against the wall, scraping his arm. He winced but continued working. Another shock hit the vessel, this one stronger. The lights flickered and went out for a moment. Emergency lighting came on, painting the corridors in dim red. Smoke began filling the room, and Ali coughed as he tried to breathe. He realized the ship's hull had been breached. He grabbed the emergency survival kit and made his way toward the lifepod bay. The journey was difficult because the ship's gravity controls had failed. Ali floated briefly before catching onto a rail. The metal floor was hot where sparks fell, and he had to step carefully to avoid burning himself. Each movement was calculated. Every second mattered. When he reached the lifepod, he quickly scanned the control panel. The pod was small but sturdy. It was designed to protect a single human in the vacuum of space, just enough to survive until rescue arrived. Ali strapped himself in, his body still trembling from the shock of the explosion. He pressed the launch button and watched as the pod detached from the ship with a soft shudder. The cargo ship was spinning out of control behind him. Ali could see the lights of the engines flickering and then disappearing into darkness. He felt a pang of fear. This had been his home for months, and now it might be lost forever. He gripped the sides of the pod and closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing heart. Minutes passed. Or was it hours? Time felt strange in the lifepod. Ali looked out of the small window and saw the stars stretching into long lines as the pod drifted through space. There was silence, only broken by the soft hum of the pod's life support system. He took a deep breath and tried to focus on something positive. He had survived the explosion. That was the first step. Suddenly, a light appeared in the distance. It was soft at first, almost like a tiny star. Then it grew brighter, and Ali realized it was moving toward him. Panic and hope mixed in his chest. Could it be another ship? A rescue team? Or was it another danger approaching? He pressed a button to send a distress signal, but the message had to travel through vast space. Help would not arrive immediately. The object came closer. Ali's heart beat faster. It was unlike any ship he had ever seen. Its shape was smooth and organic, not the straight lines and sharp edges of human designs. The surface seemed to shimmer in colors that were difficult to describe. He could see strange patterns that shifted as the ship moved. Ali had always studied alien technology in simulations, but this was real. And it was heading straight for him. A beam of light connected the pod to the alien ship. Ali felt a gentle pull, almost like the ship was inviting him inside. The pod's restraints released automatically, and the pod itself gently floated into a docking bay. The moment the doors opened, a figure appeared. It was an alien. Ali's first thought was how graceful she was. Her skin shimmered faintly under the light, and her eyes were large and expressive. She wore a uniform that was clean and practical, with subtle glowing lines that seemed to indicate her role on the ship. She did not speak at first. Instead, she extended a hand and motioned for him to come forward. Ali's body was stiff from fear and shock. He took small, careful steps toward her. When he entered the room fully, he noticed the soft hum of medical equipment and the smell of clean metal mixed with something unfamiliar, almost like flowers. The alien medic moved with confidence, her hands precise and calm. She helped him out of the pod and onto a table. "Do not be afraid," she said in perfect English. Her voice was calm, soothing. Ali was stunned. He had not expected to understand her at all. I'm Ali," he managed to say. His voice sounded hoarse even to himself. My ship, it exploded. She nodded, her large eyes reflecting concern. I am Rena. You are safe now. We will take care of you. Ali's legs felt weak. He wanted to stand, but his body refused. He had burns on his arms, a few scratches on his face, and he could feel a deep bruise forming on his side from when the ship shook. Rena moved closer, scanning him with a small device that projected soft blue light onto his injuries. You have lost a lot of blood. You must rest. Do not try to move too quickly, she instructed. Her hands moved like a gentle wave as she adjusted the device. He watched her carefully. Every motion was filled with care, and despite the strangeness of her appearance, Ali felt a strange comfort. Where am I? He asked weakly. You are on my ship. It is safe. You are protected here, Rena replied. She placed a small band over his arm, and it began healing the burns. The sensation was warm, gentle, and almost ticklish. Ali could hardly believe it. He had never seen anything like it. How are you doing this? He asked, amazed. Rena smiled softly. Medicine is not only science. It is understanding the body and helping it heal. You trust me, yes? Ali hesitated. The idea of trusting an alien was strange, but he felt he had no choice. His body was weak, and she had saved him from drifting alone in space. Yes, he said quietly. Good, she said. That is enough for now. Rest, Ali. Tomorrow we will talk more about your people and your journey. Ali closed his eyes. The fear that had been gnawing at him since the explosion began to fade. For the first time since the accident, he felt hope. He did not know what awaited him on this strange ship, or how long he would be here, but he knew that he had been rescued. Someone, even from another world, had cared enough to save him. Ali woke slowly. The soft light of the alien ship filled the room. He felt rested, though his body still ached from the injuries he had suffered on his cargo ship. He noticed that he was no longer on a metal table but in a small room that was warm and quiet. The walls seemed to shift colors slightly, calming and gentle, unlike any room he had ever seen. Rena entered the room quietly, carrying a tray with food. She smiled at him and spoke softly. Good morning, Ali. You slept well. Your body needs energy to heal. Ali sat up carefully. Thank you, he said. He felt nervous. Being on a ship with an alien was strange. He had expected fear, confusion, or even danger, but all he felt was calm. Her presence made him feel safe in a way he could not explain. Rena placed the tray in front of him. The food looked unusual, shaped like small cubes and soft pastes, but the aroma was pleasant. Try it, she encouraged. It is made to restore strength quickly. Ali hesitated, then took a small piece. The taste was surprisingly good, mild but satisfying. He ate slowly, watching her carefully. Her movements were graceful, her hands precise, almost like a dance. She noticed him studying her and smiled. Do you eat differently on your planet? She asked. Her voice was curious but not intrusive. Ali nodded. Yes. Humans eat many different things, but usually not like this. We cook food, not just shape it. Rena laughed softly. The sound was melodic. Interesting. You are willing to try new things. That is good. In my people, we respect those who adapt. Flexibility is a sign of strength. Ali thought about her words. Her people clearly had different customs, but they were not frightening. They were practical and full of respect. He realized that he had to learn quickly if he wanted to survive here, not just physically but socially. After breakfast, Rena guided Ali to a larger room. It was like a laboratory and living space combined. Machines hummed softly, and panels displayed soft colors and patterns. Ali's eyes widened as he saw small creatures in transparent containers, moving carefully under the light. "These are not dangerous," Rena explained. "They are our assistants. They help with healing and research." Ali nodded slowly. The aliens clearly valued order and balance. He wondered how different their society was from human colonies, where survival often depended on competition and luck. Here, there was cooperation, care, and thoughtfulness in every action. As he explored the room, Ali felt his curiosity growing. "Rena, do your people fight or go to war?" he asked, careful with his words. She shook her head. "We avoid conflict. We are healers. But we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our duty. Strength is measured by care, not by force." Ali smiled slightly. There was wisdom in her words. Humans often measured strength differently. He felt a little embarrassed for the way his species had sometimes used violence to solve problems. Rena guided him to a seat and handed him a small device. "This is for communication. You can speak to me or others on the ship with it. You will also learn about our customs and language slowly. Do not rush yourself." Ali took the device carefully. "Thank you. I want to understand your people," he said. Rena tilted her head. "That is good. Curiosity is a strength. It helps humans survive. It helps others understand you as well." The day passed slowly. Ali learned small things about Rena's customs. Her people valued honesty, patience, and gentle humor. They did not play tricks in the way humans did, but they enjoyed observing small moments of surprise and laughter. Ali found this fascinating. At one point, Rena checked his vitals again. Her fingers moved over a device that floated above his arm, scanning without touching him. Ali noticed how careful she was, almost like a painter placing brush strokes. He smiled nervously and said, "Yes, dear," jokingly, as humans sometimes said to lighten tense moments. Rena paused. Her large eyes focused on him. Then, to Ali's surprise, she smiled softly and said, "Then you are my mate." Ali froze. His heart jumped. He had only meant the words as a joke, a way to make light of the strange situation. But Rena spoke as if she had heard truth in them. He tried to explain quickly. I only said that as a joke. I did not mean it that way." Rena's smile did not fade. "Jokes are interesting. They are not common among my people. But words carry meaning. A mate is someone chosen by trust and care, not by chance. You trusted me when you were injured. That shows a bond." Ali blinked, unsure what to say. He had never met someone who saw so clearly into actions and intentions. His mind raced. Did she truly believe he was her mate? Was it just a misunderstanding? He tried to change the subject. "I should rest more. My body is still weak," he said, hoping she would let the moment pass. But Rena did not seem bothered. She moved closer and placed a hand gently on his arm. "Rest is important, but so is understanding. You will learn about our people. You will see that a bond is not made lightly. It is built through care, courage, and trust." Ali looked at her carefully. The warmth in her eyes made him feel both nervous and strangely comforted. He realized that maybe this moment was more important than he had thought. He had survived an explosion, drifted through space, and now found himself in the hands of someone entirely different from him, yet caring for him deeply. Hours passed. Ali rested while Rena explained more about her society. They valued health, knowledge, and the safety of all beings. There was no hierarchy based on power or wealth, only on skill, wisdom, and willingness to help others. Ali found himself admiring this approach. It was simple but effective. Before nightfall, Ali could not resist asking one more question. "Rena, do you always call someone a mate so quickly?" he asked, still a little anxious. Rena smiled again. No, a mate is not chosen lightly. But actions speak before words. When you trusted me fully, even when you were afraid, you showed the qualities of one who could be my mate. It is not only about words, Ali. It is about the heart behind them. Ali sat quietly, thinking about her words. He realized that being called a mate was not a joke for her people. It was serious. And perhaps, he had already shown the trust and courage she spoke about, without even realizing it. As the day ended, Ali felt a mix of emotions: confusion, curiosity, and a strange warmth in his chest. He did not understand everything about Rena's people, but he wanted to. And for the first time since the explosion, he felt that his life was not just about survival. It was about learning, understanding, and maybe even forming a connection that crossed the boundaries of worlds. Ali lay down to rest, thinking about the strange new path his life had taken. Tomorrow would bring more lessons, more discoveries, and perhaps more moments that would test his courage and trust. But for now, he allowed himself to feel safe, cared for, and unexpectedly hopeful. Ali woke to the soft hum of the ship. The light in his room had shifted from soft blue to a warm golden tone, signaling the start of a new day. His body felt stronger than the day before, though he still ached slightly from the burns and bruises. He stretched slowly and noticed that Rena was already there, preparing some tools and devices. "Good morning, Ali," she said, her voice calm and melodic. "You slept well. Your body is recovering faster than I expected." Ali smiled weakly. "Thank you. You've been taking good care of me." Rena tilted her head and returned the smile. "It is my duty. But also, I enjoy helping you. You are curious, and your mind is sharp. That makes you interesting." Ali chuckled softly. "I hope that's a good thing." Rena laughed gently. Her laughter was soft, almost musical, and it made Ali feel lighter than he had in days. He realized that despite the strangeness of his surroundings, he felt comfortable with her. It was an odd feeling, trusting someone so different from himself, yet feeling safe. As she worked on checking his injuries and preparing a nutritious meal, Ali remembered the moment from yesterday. He had jokingly said, "Yes, dear," and Rena had called him her mate. The words echoed in his mind. At first, he had been shocked and confused. Now, lying in her calm presence, he felt something else: a strange warmth, a curiosity about what she meant. He tried to speak carefully. "Rena, about what you said yesterday. I didn't mean it seriously. It was just a human joke." Rena paused, looking at him with her large expressive eyes. "I know, Ali. You did not intend it as truth. But your actions spoke louder than your words. You trusted me when you had no other choice. That shows courage. That shows the heart." Ali felt a wave of embarrassment. Humans often hid emotions with jokes, but it seemed that Rena could see past that easily. He shook his head with a small smile. "You can see everything, can't you?" Rena laughed softly again. "Not everything. But the important things. The things that matter." Ali realized she was right. Her people did not need words to understand trust and care. They could read intentions in actions. He felt both nervous and fascinated. This was unlike anything he had ever experienced. After breakfast, Rena decided it was time to teach Ali a little about her people's culture. She led him through a section of the ship he had not seen before. The corridors were smooth and glowing softly with patterns that shifted slowly along the walls. Ali noticed that the patterns were calming, almost like watching waves move on water. "These corridors are designed for comfort," Rena explained. "They help minds relax, even in stressful situations. Your body is healing, but your mind must also adjust to new surroundings." Ali nodded slowly. "Everything about your people is different. But it feels good. Peaceful." Rena smiled. That is our goal. We do not rush. We do not force. We guide and care. Trust grows naturally when respect exists. Ali followed her to a room where several alien devices were arranged. These are learning devices, she said. They help you understand our language, our science, and our customs. You can use them at your own pace. Ali spent hours learning small things: how Rena's people measured energy, how they healed wounds, and how they communicated with subtle gestures as well as words. He was amazed at their efficiency and thoughtfulness. At one point, Rena noticed him looking tired. Rest now, she suggested. I will check on you later. Ali smiled and nodded. He lay back, feeling the gentle hum of the ship around him. But his mind was restless. He could not stop thinking about the mate comment. Humans often joked about strange things, but here it was taken seriously. He felt a mix of fear, embarrassment, and curiosity. Could he ever understand her world fully? Could he ever explain himself without offending her? Later in the day, Rena returned. Ali, it is time for a small test, she said, her eyes twinkling slightly. A challenge of thought, not strength. Are you ready? Ali sat up quickly. A test? What kind of test? Rena smiled softly. It is a game we play. We observe, we think, we respond. Humans do something similar, yes. Ali nodded slowly. Yes. We sometimes solve puzzles or play strategy games. Rena handed him a device that projected glowing shapes in the air. You must arrange these patterns to match the balance in this room. It is not about speed. It is about understanding. Ali studied the shapes carefully. He noticed how they moved, how they responded to his gestures, and slowly, he began arranging them. It was tricky, but he felt satisfaction with every small success. Rena observed quietly, only smiling when he achieved a particularly clever pattern. You are learning quickly, she said. This is good. Curiosity and patience are signs of strength. Ali laughed lightly. I never thought a game could be so complicated. Rena tilted her head. Games are tools for growth. They teach without fear or harm. You humans often compete, but here we grow together. Ali thought about her words. He realized how different her world was. It was not about power or victory, but understanding, care, and cooperation. He felt a small sense of awe at how advanced this society was, not just in technology, but in wisdom. As the day progressed, Ali tried to joke again. He looked at Rena and said, yes, dear, lightly, hoping to lighten the mood. Rena stopped what she was doing and looked at him seriously. Then, to Ali's surprise, she smiled again. You continue to speak in jest, yet your heart shows truth. That is why I call you my mate. You show courage, trust, and care without realizing it. Words may be jokes, but actions reveal reality. Ali felt his face warm. He did not know what to say. Humans used jokes to hide feelings, but Rena seemed to see past the mask. He laughed awkwardly, scratching the back of his head. I suppose that makes sense in your way. Rena's eyes twinkled. In any way, actions matter most. You are not trying to deceive. That is why trust grows between us. Ali shook his head, still smiling nervously. I never expected my words to mean so much. Rena laughed softly again. The smallest words can hold the greatest meaning. Sometimes humans speak truth without knowing it. That is fascinating to observe. Ali realized she was right. Perhaps his joke had revealed something he did not fully understand himself. For the first time, he felt that the bond she spoke of might not be so strange after all. The rest of the evening passed with quiet conversation and small lessons. Ali learned about her people's philosophy, care and courage above all, patience with all creatures, and the importance of understanding actions as much as words. He felt both humbled and inspired. As Ali lay down to sleep that night, he thought about Rena's words. Her trust and observation had changed the way he viewed his own actions. He realized that sometimes jokes and small gestures could reveal more than direct statements. He closed his eyes with a new sense of respect and curiosity. For the first time since being rescued, Ali felt more than safety. He felt a connection, a bond that was strange, confusing, but undeniably real. And he knew that the days ahead would teach him even more about courage, trust, and the quiet power of understanding. Ali woke to an unusual vibration. The gentle hum of the ship had changed into something sharper. He opened his eyes and noticed the light had shifted to an alert orange. Rena was already at the console, her large eyes focused and serious. "Ali," she said calmly, "we have received a distress signal. Another vessel is under attack nearby. They are calling for help." Ali sat up quickly. "Under attack? By whom?" Rena shook her head. "We do not know. The signal did not provide details. But those in danger are helpless. We must act." Ali felt a mix of fear and determination. He had survived the explosion on his own ship, but helping others now was different. He had no idea what dangers awaited them. Yet he also felt a strange pull to do something meaningful. Rena moved gracefully to the ship's controls. "We will assist. But you must stay with me. It is dangerous outside the safety of this ship." Ali nodded. "I can help. I know the ship systems. I can assist in navigation and power distribution." Together, they prepared the ship for departure. Ali helped reroute energy from non-essential systems to the shields and propulsion. Rena coordinated the course toward the vessel under attack. The smooth, organic design of her ship moved like water through space, weaving between debris and asteroid fragments as they approached. As the ship neared the source of the distress signal, Ali could see the other vessel. It was small and heavily damaged. Sparks flew from the hull, and pieces of debris floated around it. Ali's heart raced. He had seen destruction before, but seeing it up close made the danger feel real and immediate. "They are too weak to defend themselves," Rena said, her voice steady. "We must protect them." Ali nodded. He focused on the controls, carefully adjusting power levels to strengthen the shields around both ships. Rena guided him with calm instructions, her voice never showing fear, only confidence. Ali felt reassured. Together, they formed a plan. Suddenly, a group of small but aggressive ships appeared from the shadows. They moved quickly, attacking the vulnerable vessel. Ali's hands flew over the controls, redirecting energy to the defensive systems. Rena activated shields and created energy barriers in precise patterns to block incoming attacks. Ali watched in awe as she worked. Her coordination and quick thinking were unmatched. "You are incredible," he said, surprised by his own words. Rena glanced at him briefly. "Focus, Ali. Courage is not only in fighting. It is in thinking clearly under pressure." The battle was tense. The attackers tried repeatedly to breach the shields, but Ali and Rena worked together flawlessly. Ali adjusted power levels, Rena guided the energy flows. Slowly, the attacking ships began to retreat. Ali's confidence grew with every successful maneuver. Finally, the attackers disengaged completely. The small vessel they had been protecting was safe, though badly damaged. Ali felt relief flood through him. He had expected to feel fear, but instead, he felt pride. Together, they had saved lives. Rena guided the ship closer to the damaged vessel. "We will help them repair. It is the right thing to do." Ali watched as Rena communicated with the crew of the vessel. Her language was gentle, precise, and respectful. Even though they could not understand every word, the crew of the vessel felt the care and support. Ali realized that courage alone was not enough, kindness was equally powerful. After stabilizing the damaged ship, Rena turned to Ali. You did well. Your skills and calm mind were crucial. I am proud of you. Ali felt his face warm. Praise from her meant more than he expected. Thank you. I could not have done it without your guidance. Rena smiled softly. Courage grows when there is trust. You trusted me, and I trusted you. That is why we succeeded. Ali thought about the words carefully. He realized that trust had been the key. Without it, they could have failed. The bond they shared had grown stronger through action, not just words. As the immediate danger passed, Ali helped the injured crew members from the small vessel. Rena moved among them, tending to wounds and assessing their condition. Ali watched her with admiration. Her care was precise and gentle, and the crew began to feel safe in her presence. One of the crew members, a young human named Sarah, looked at Ali with gratitude. Thank you for helping us, she said. I don't know what would have happened without you. Ali smiled humbly. I only did what I could. The real credit goes to her, he said, pointing to Rena. Rena shook her head slightly. We all work together. Everyone has a role. Courage and care are shared responsibilities. Ali thought about how different this was from human society. Often, humans celebrated individual achievement, sometimes ignoring teamwork or the consequences of selfishness. Here, success was collective, based on trust, skill, and care for others. He felt a sense of inspiration. Later, as the ships moved toward a safe location, Ali and Rena reviewed the events of the day. You handled pressure well, Rena said. But more importantly, you remained calm and thoughtful. That is a rare quality. Ali nodded slowly. I was scared, but I wanted to help. I felt. I don't know, like I had to do the right thing. Rena's large eyes softened. That is why I called you my mate. Not for words, but for courage, care, and trust. You showed them when it mattered most. Ali felt a strange warmth in his chest. He still found it confusing, but he could not deny the truth in her words. Her observation of his actions had revealed something he had not fully understood about himself. As night fell on the alien ship, Ali reflected on the day's events. He had faced danger and uncertainty, yet he had discovered courage within himself. He had also learned the importance of trust, teamwork, and the quiet power of caring for others. And most of all, he had seen how Rena's guidance had shaped his choices, helping him become more than he thought he could be. Before he slept, Ali turned to Rena. Thank you for trusting me, he said softly. Rena smiled. No, Ali. Thank you for trusting yourself. That is how bonds are built. That is how courage grows. Ali lay down, feeling a mix of exhaustion and pride. He had survived an explosion, been rescued by an alien medic, and now helped save lives in a dangerous situation. And through it all, he had discovered something new about himself, a strength that went beyond physical ability. It was the courage to act, the trust to rely on others, and the care to protect those who could not protect themselves. For the first time, Ali felt that being on Rena's ship was not just about survival. It was about learning, growing, and understanding the true meaning of courage and trust. And he knew that the days ahead would bring even greater challenges and opportunities to discover more about himself, Rena, and the extraordinary world she came from. The alien ship moved steadily through the quiet of space, its gentle hum a constant companion. Ali sat in a small observation room, staring at the stars stretching endlessly before him. The events of the past days had left him both exhausted and amazed. He had been rescued from the drifting lifepod, recovered under Rena's care, and even helped defend another vessel in danger. And yet, his mind kept returning to one question: the meaning behind Rena's words. Rena entered quietly, carrying a small device that glowed softly. Her eyes, large and expressive, met his, and Ali felt that same warmth he had come to recognize. She did not speak immediately. Instead, she gestured for him to sit beside her at the observation window. Ali, she said finally, her voice calm but serious, I need to ask you something. A question about your heart. Ali's stomach tightened. He had expected this moment eventually, but it was harder than he imagined. He had tried to laugh off the yes, dear joke, but her people seemed to see beyond words to intentions and truth. What do you mean? Ali asked carefully, his voice quiet. Rena placed her hand gently on the device, and a soft pattern of light floated between them. When you said words yesterday, a human joke, I called you my mate. But I must understand whether your heart spoke truth, even if your words did not. You are honest, Ali. You care for others. That is why I must ask. Ali looked at her, unsure how to respond. He had spent his life hiding feelings, joking to lighten moments of fear or awkwardness. He had never imagined that a simple phrase could hold such weight for someone else. I don't know what to say, he admitted. I said it as a joke. I didn't expect you to take it seriously. But, he hesitated, trying to put his feelings into words. But when I said it, I felt comfortable. Safe. I don't know why. Maybe because I trusted you when I had no choice. Maybe because I felt that you would protect me. Rena listened carefully, her expression calm and patient. That is what I needed to hear, she said softly. Trust is not always spoken in words. Actions, feelings, and choices reveal the heart. You have shown courage, care, and honesty without realizing it. Ali swallowed. The weight of her words made him feel both nervous and relieved. He had expected confusion, maybe even embarrassment. Instead, he felt a strange connection, a sense that someone understood him fully for the first time in his life. I never thought a joke could mean anything, Ali admitted. I was just trying to make a tense moment lighter. But now I see, maybe it revealed more than I realized. Rena smiled gently. Small words can carry great truth. Intentions are often hidden behind them. Your actions proved your heart. That is why you are my mate. Not because of the joke, but because of your courage and trust. Ali felt a warmth spread through him. He had never imagined being called a mate by anyone, let alone an alien from another world. And yet, he could not deny the sincerity in her voice and eyes. Her words were not playful or fleeting, they carried meaning, and they reflected the bond that had quietly grown between them. He leaned back in his chair, trying to calm the sudden rush of emotions. I don't know if I can fully understand your people yet. Your customs are so different from mine. But I want to try. I want to learn. And I think I care for you too, even if it is confusing. Rena's eyes softened. That is enough, Ali. Understanding grows over time. Care is the first step. Trust follows. Courage is proven in action. You have already begun this journey. Ali felt a small laugh escape him, nervous and light. I never thought I would be having this conversation with an alien medic in deep space. Rena laughed softly, a melodic sound that made Ali feel lighter. Life is full of surprises, Ali. That is what makes it worth living. Bonds form in unexpected places, often when least expected. Ali nodded slowly, still staring at the stars outside. He realized that the universe was vast, full of dangers, wonders, and beings he could never have imagined. Yet here he was, forming a connection with someone from a world entirely different from his own. And that connection felt real, grounding, and powerful. Rena placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. Do not be afraid of your feelings. Humans often hide emotions behind jokes or words. That is natural. But courage comes not only from facing danger but from facing the truth inside yourself. Ali swallowed hard. Her words resonated deeply. He had faced explosions, attacks, and drifting through space alone, yet this conversation felt more challenging. It demanded honesty, reflection, and acceptance of emotions he had long avoided. I think I am ready to trust my heart, Ali said finally. Even if I do not fully understand everything yet. Rena smiled, her eyes shining softly. That is all I ask. Trust begins with acknowledging your heart. Everything else will follow naturally. The rest of the day passed in quiet reflection. Ali helped Rena with small tasks on the ship, learning more about the systems and assisting with maintenance. Yet his mind kept returning to the conversation, to the warmth of her gaze, and to the strange, comforting feeling that had grown inside him since the moment of his rescue. As night fell, Ali stood at the observation window once more. He looked at the stars stretching endlessly before him and felt a sense of peace. He had survived impossible odds, formed a connection that crossed the boundaries of species, and discovered courage within himself. And now, he had taken the first step toward trusting his own heart, guided by someone who believed in him. Rena approached quietly and stood beside him. The stars are beautiful tonight, she said softly. Ali nodded. Yes. They remind me how small we are, yet how much we can do. And how much trust and care can mean, even across worlds. Rena smiled. Exactly. Courage and care are universal, Ali. They are understood even where words may differ. That is why our bond exists. Ali felt a quiet determination settle within him. The bond they shared was no longer a joke, no longer confusing. It was real. And he knew that whatever challenges awaited them in the vastness of space, he and Rena would face them together. As he lay down to rest that night, Ali felt a sense of calm he had never known. He had trusted his heart, shared his fears, and accepted the bond that had quietly formed. And for the first time in his life, he looked forward to tomorrow not just for survival, but for the journey ahead with someone who had changed his life forever. The ship moved steadily through the quiet expanse of space, but Ali could feel a tension in the air. The mission ahead was more dangerous than any he had faced before. A nearby colony had sent an urgent signal. Their energy core was failing, and if they did not receive help quickly, the station could collapse. Ali knew that every second mattered. Rena approached him quietly, her expression serious but calm. Ali, this task will test more than skill. It will test courage, trust, and understanding. Are you ready to act together? Ali nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Yes. I will do whatever I can. They prepared the ship, running systems checks and calculating the safest route. Ali focused on energy distribution while Rena coordinated navigation and shields. Every movement was precise. Every decision carried weight. The stakes were high, but the trust between them made him feel capable, even in the face of danger. As they approached the colony, Ali could see the station floating helplessly. Lights flickered on its surface, and clouds of debris drifted from the failing energy core. Ali's heart pounded. He had faced emergencies before, but seeing a whole station at risk brought a new intensity. Rena turned to him. Ali, you must take the lead on the core interface. I will guide you from navigation and shielding. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Ali swallowed hard but nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility, yet he also felt the warmth of Rena's trust. Her confidence in him was more powerful than any instruction manual or training. He realized that courage grew from trust, and he had that trust now. They entered the colony's vicinity carefully, maneuvering past floating debris. Ali reached the core interface, a complex panel of controls and glowing symbols. His hands moved quickly over the console, rerouting energy flows and stabilizing unstable connections. Rena guided him through adjustments, giving clear instructions while keeping him calm. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Every moment demanded focus, and any mistake could be disastrous. Ali's fingers flew over the controls as he followed Rina's guidance. Slowly, the energy core stabilized. The lights on the colony brightened, and the hum of the station returned to normal. Ali exhaled a long breath, feeling the tension in his body release. Rina placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. "You did it, Ali. Courage, skill, and care, these are the qualities that saved them. You have proven yourself beyond words." Ali smiled, exhausted but proud. "We did it together. I could not have done it without you." Rina tilted her head and smiled softly. "True. Trust and teamwork are more important than individual skill. You have learned that quickly." After the crisis, the two of them rested in a quiet chamber on the ship. Ali reflected on the day's events. He had faced danger, made critical decisions, and helped save countless lives. And through it all, he realized something important: he had also discovered more about himself. His courage was not just in action but in trust, in understanding, and in care for others. Rina sat beside him, her eyes soft and curious. "Ali, earlier you spoke of feelings you did not fully understand. I want to ask again. Do you know now what your heart truly says?" Ali looked at her, remembering the conversation they had days ago. He thought about his fears, his jokes, and the bond that had quietly grown between them. He realized that her question was not just about words. It was about understanding himself, admitting courage, and trusting his own emotions. "I think I understand now," Ali said slowly. "When I joked, I tried to hide my feelings. But the truth is, I trust you. I care for you. And I want to face whatever comes next with you. Not as a joke, but as truth." Rina's eyes glowed softly with understanding. "That is all I need to hear. Truth spoken from the heart is stronger than any word said lightly. Courage is knowing yourself and trusting your feelings, Ali." Ali felt a warmth in his chest. He had faced explosions, attacks, and life-threatening emergencies, yet this moment, speaking honestly about his feelings, felt just as important. He realized that courage was not only action in danger but honesty in the heart. Rina reached out and touched his hand gently. Ali felt a connection he could not describe. It was calm, warm, and grounding. Her presence reminded him that trust and care could bridge even the vast distance between worlds. They spoke quietly for hours, sharing thoughts about their past, their cultures, and their hopes. Ali learned more about Rina's people, their respect for life, their care for one another, and their belief in bonds that transcended fear. He shared stories of human life, their struggles, and their resilience. They laughed softly at the differences, and the room felt peaceful, like a small island in the vast ocean of space. As night fell on the ship, Ali and Rina moved to the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them, and the gentle hum of the ship made a calm rhythm beneath their feet. Ali felt a sense of clarity he had never known. He had faced danger, understood courage, and discovered trust and care that went beyond words. Rina looked at him with a soft smile. "Ali, courage is proven not only in battle but in honesty. Today you showed both. That is why our bond grows stronger." Ali nodded. "I see that now. I was afraid to admit my feelings, even to myself. But I understand them better. And I want to face the future with courage, trust, and care, just like you said." Rina placed her hand lightly on his shoulder again. "Then our journey continues, Ali. Together, we will face what lies ahead. And together, we will grow stronger." Ali looked at her and smiled. The bond between them was no longer confusing or uncertain. It was real, built on trust, courage, and shared experience. He knew that whatever challenges awaited them in the vastness of space, they would face them side by side. He took a deep breath, feeling calm and confident. For the first time since the explosion that had started this journey, Ali felt truly alive. He had discovered courage in action, honesty in the heart, and a bond that transcended the boundaries of worlds. As the ship continued its journey through the endless stars, Ali felt ready for whatever the future held. He trusted Rena, he trusted himself, and he understood the true meaning of courage, care, and connection. And he knew that no matter what challenges came next, he would face them with courage, honesty, and the quiet strength of trust in his heart. The alien ship glided silently through space, carrying both Ali and Rena toward an unknown destination. The stars stretched endlessly before them, bright and constant, as if reminding them of the vastness of the universe. Ali sat in the observation deck, thinking about everything that had happened since his rescue. He had survived a drifting lifepod, learned to trust an alien medic, helped save a colony in danger, and discovered courage and honesty within himself. Rena approached him quietly. Her presence was calm, reassuring, and familiar. She gestured for him to follow her to the ship's control room. Ali obeyed, feeling both nervous and excited. He had learned that the moments she guided him through were lessons, opportunities to grow stronger together. Ali, Rena said softly, we are approaching a region of space that has hazards unknown even to my people. You must remain alert. This journey will test your courage once more. Ali nodded. I am ready. I trust you, Rena. She smiled. Good. Trust is the strongest foundation. Courage grows from it. As they moved closer to the hazard zone, Ali could see irregular shapes floating in space, large asteroids, fragments of destroyed ships, and strange energy fields that glowed faintly. Rena guided the ship carefully, weaving through the dangers with grace. Ali assisted with power reroutes, stabilizing shields, and monitoring energy flows. His hands moved with confidence, shaped by the lessons he had learned and the trust he shared with Rena. Suddenly, a pulse of energy struck the ship, shaking them violently. Ali held onto the console as sparks flew from a panel. The shields flickered but held, thanks to his quick adjustments. Rena's calm voice guided him. Redirect energy to the forward shields. Trust yourself. Act decisively. Ali focused, his heart racing. He rerouted the power, stabilizing the shields and calming the ship's systems. The pulse passed, leaving only faint ripples in space. He exhaled, feeling a mix of adrenaline and pride. You handled that perfectly, Rena said softly, her eyes bright. Courage is not the absence of fear, Ali. It is acting even when fear exists. You have proven that today. Ali smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. I could not have done it without your guidance. You taught me more than I ever expected. Rena tilted her head, her expression softening. You taught yourself, Ali. I only helped you see your own strength. For a while, they navigated the hazards in silence, each focused yet aware of the bond between them. Ali realized how much he had changed. He no longer felt like a frightened survivor. He was confident, capable, and ready to face challenges with trust and care. And he realized that this transformation was tied to Rena's guidance and the quiet bond that had grown between them. Eventually, they emerged from the hazardous region into calm space. Stars stretched in all directions, bright and steady. Ali looked at Rena and felt a sense of clarity he had never experienced before. He had faced dangers, learned courage, and discovered trust, but now he understood the deeper connection they shared. Rena, Ali said softly, I want to say something. I know it is strange, and I might not have the right words, but I care for you. Not as a joke, not as a momentary thought, but truly. I trust you, I respect you, and I want to face the future with you. Rena's eyes softened, and she placed a hand gently on his. Ali, that is what I hoped you would say. Trust and care are universal. They transcend words and species. You have learned the meaning of courage, honesty, and connection. That is why you are my mate. That is why our bond is real. Ali felt a wave of emotion. The journey had been dangerous and strange, but it had also been extraordinary. He had survived against odds, discovered strength within himself, and now embraced a connection that crossed worlds. He realized that courage was not only in facing external danger but also in facing the truth within his heart. Rena guided him to a section of the ship with a panoramic view of a nearby galaxy. The stars spun slowly, painting the dark expanse with light. "Ali," she said softly, "this is our moment to reflect. You have grown, and our bond has grown. You have faced danger, learned trust, and discovered your own courage. Now you must choose to move forward, embracing what you have learned." Ali looked at the stars, then at Rena. His heart felt steady. He thought about the lifepod drifting through space, the explosion that had started his journey, the colony they had saved, and the lessons she had taught him. And he realized that he did not want to turn back. He wanted to move forward, together, with courage, trust, and care as their guide. "I choose," Ali said firmly, "to face the future with you. I trust myself, I trust you, and I accept our bond. Whatever comes, we will face it together." Rena's eyes shone with approval and warmth. "That is all I could hope for. Courage, honesty, and trust, these are the qualities that define a true mate. You have proven them, Ali." The ship moved onward through the stars, carrying both of them toward new adventures. Ali felt a sense of peace he had never known, tempered by excitement for the unknown. He had survived disasters, learned to trust and act with courage, and embraced a bond that transcended worlds. As the stars passed outside the panoramic window, Ali reflected on his journey. Life was unpredictable, filled with danger and uncertainty, yet it was also filled with opportunity for growth, courage, and connection. He had discovered that the greatest strength was not just physical skill or survival, but trust, honesty, and the willingness to care for others. Rena stood beside him, her presence steady and comforting. "Ali, our journey continues. Challenges will arise, but together we are stronger than any danger we face. Courage and trust will guide us." Ali nodded, feeling a quiet determination. "I understand. And I am ready. With you, I feel stronger, braver, and more capable than I ever imagined." The stars stretched endlessly before them, a reminder of the vast universe and the adventures yet to come. Ali smiled, feeling hope, courage, and a quiet joy in his chest. He knew that whatever lay ahead, he would face it with honesty, trust, and care. And he would face it with Rena, the one who had saved him, guided him, and shared a bond that would endure beyond worlds. As the ship moved onward, Ali and Rena stood side by side, watching the stars and feeling the quiet strength of trust between them. They had faced danger, learned courage, and discovered a connection that was deeper than words. Together, they were ready for anything.